They said he filed a JV 180-388 petition. My question is that the same as a motion?
Well, some people use We're back. This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm attorney Vince Davis, and I'm on with my co-host this evening, Aaron Carranza. Aaron, are we ready for another call?
Sure, we can take another call.
All right, let's see. Let's talk to Emma from California. Emma, do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Both. I'm the paternity grandmother. My son, he doesn't act like he want to have anything to do with his son. And the last court date, which was in November, he did say that my oldest son can have, rights to my grandson, but the oldest son never did anything. So I talked to the social worker because they wouldn't let me, for whatever reasons, I don't know, they wouldn't let me have him. And so I talked to the social worker. She said that they were going to, they were filling out paperwork or going to fill out paperwork for parental guardian for the foster parent. And so what I did was I contacted an attorney to and they said that they will file a motion. I didn't know what a motion was. So they filed the motion, but this attorney, I asked for a copy of the motion. I never got a copy of the motion. So what I did was I called the county, the courts to try to find out. So they tell me that what he filed was not a motion. And my question is, I wanted to know, since you are an attorney, they said he filed a JV 180-388 petition. My question is that the same as a motion?
Well, some people use it interchangeably. Theoretically, in the black letter law, there is a difference between a motion and a petition. But I've used those terms interchangeably when I've referring to a 388 petition. So it's basically the same thing. But here's the thing. You're not entitled to get a copy of it because you're not a party to the case, and they're all confidential proceedings. Now, you can make arrangements or do something to try to get a copy, and you'd be filing an 827 petition or motion to ask the court to get a copy of it. But getting a copy of that motion or petition is not going to get you, in my opinion, any closer to what you want. You want the child placed with you. And so if that's what you want, you have to file your own 388 petition, your own de facto motion, and perhaps, if the facts support it, your own presumed parent petition or motion. Okay?
Okay.
So don't focus on what the foster parents did, because that's not going to get you anything. You want the child placed with you, so you need to take affirmative steps and try to make that happen.
Okay, and I don't have to have an attorney to do that?
Well, theoretically, you don't, but that's like doing open heart surgery without having a doctor, right? People think that they can go to court and just get justice all by themselves, right? Does that ever happen? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 in 100 times, maybe 1 in 1,000 times. But, the other 99% of the times, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work. Earlier in the show, I was telling somebody this. I said, you seem like a very smart person. The only problem is you don't know the law, the substantive law for this area. You don't know the procedural laws. You don't know the evidentiary laws and the case law in this area. So, I use this all the time. A few weeks ago, my mechanic told me, hey, you need a new transmission. Well, I didn't
Hmm.
say, well, how do you do that? Let me go buy the tools from Pet Boys and, the supplies and the book, the children's book on how to change the transmission, in a 2013 or 14 BMW, right? It'd take me years to try to figure it out if I ever do figure it out. So,
Right.
theoretically you can do it, but I don't think you're going to have success with it. The probabilities are that you won't have success with it. And
So what?
if this is important to you, you should try to get an attorney. In the old days, and I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago, juvenile
Hmm.
dependency courts used to appoint relatives like yourself an attorney to try to get visitation or get custody of the child, that type of thing. And then over the years, that kind of waned away because of, I guess, economics. The county didn't want to pay, or the state didn't want to pay, or the federal government didn't want to pay for a person who wasn't technically a party to the case for their own attorney. So that left you with, you going out and trying to do something yourself, or hiring your own private attorney.
Okay.
So if you're
So
really serious about this, I'd suggest you probably get a private attorney, because you may only have one shot at this and you want to make sure you do it the right way. And a lot of people go out and try to do it themselves, and then they come back and tell me, oh, the court's corrupt. No, the court wasn't corrupt. You just didn't know the rules. And you tried to get something because you thought justice was what you believed justice was. And like I told somebody earlier, justice isn't what you think it is. Justice
yeah,
is
but
justice
mhm.
is based upon laws that unfortunately you
Right,
probably don't know anything about.
right. But I got an attorney.
Oh,
I
you
had an attorney. Yeah,
okay?
I had an attorney, and they filed a motion, but that's all they did. They really didn't correspond with me. They just told me that it was denied, and that's when because I didn't have no paperwork. He never called me and told me anything. So that's when I said, well, I need something to, I want to see something that, what did you file? And, why was it denied? And so he never gave me anything. So that's why I called the courts to find out
Right.
what was filed.
Oh, so when the court told you that a 388 was filed, that was what your attorney filed, correct?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
that's what my attorney filed, a
Okay.
388, and they told me that's not a motion. They said that's a petition.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, you know what? You can get a.
so
I think that since it was filed on your behalf, you probably can get a copy of that. Or I would just write your attorney an email, saying, hey, I demand a copy of the 388 you filed. But I don't
right,
want you to get sidetracked on that, because if it wasn't successful, you probably want to file a notice of appeal or file an amended 388 petition, or maybe have some new facts. Or, if you do file the same one, you got to be careful, because some people might look at that as, being frivolous. You want to have a basis for filing a 388. Sometimes it's the same thing. There's a case that says you can file a 388 conceivably on anything. It's a
hmm
very broad standard. But, not knowing the facts of the child, and, sometimes things change in a case. Sometimes, just the fact that time has passed, things change in the case with the children. And just because it didn't work, 3 months ago or 4 months ago, doesn't mean it won't work 4 months later, right? These cases
right,
don't stay stagnant. They're changing all the time. They involve people, right? Different things are happening
right,
in kids' lives every day, every week, every month. So something that you did before may not have worked, but it might work in the future. But this is something that you have to talk to your attorney about.
2 minutes.
right. Well, I did call you because I didn't too much care for that attorney because he never called me. We never sat down and talked about anything
Hmm.
or over the phone. And so I wasn't even sure how the motion went because they said when the county clerk said, well, usually when a motion is filed, they send also a letter or something,
Yes,
And
absolutely.
this,
Absolutely.
yeah, this attorney didn't send no letter because he never called me and we never wrote anything down. In fact, when I had paid him, he didn't even file it right away. It was like 3 weeks later. I'm calling him and asking, well, what was going on with the motion? And he said, oh, I'm going to do it today. So this is 3 weeks later. And so I found out from the court when he filed it, like on the 11th and the 13th, the judge had the decision. So I called like about 2 weeks later, and then he said, oh, no, I texted him and I asked him I asked him what was going on. That's when he said it was declined. They denied it. And that was it. So it's like he never sat down with me. I never wrote a letter or either over the phone.
Okay, Emma, this is what I want you to do. I want you to call me tomorrow at my office, leave a message, and I'll get back to you sometime this weekend, and I'll talk to you more in detail and see what we can do, what I can do for you in giving you advice. My number is 888-888-6582. 888-888-6582. Thank you for calling, Emma. Appreciate you listening. Call us in a few weeks. Give us an update, all right? This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. We'll be back right after these messages.